Hey, good morning. This is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life, bringing you the AA word of the day. But before I get into that, you may notice something looks different. I am not on the porch, I am in the backyard. I think I've found the solution to me not being able to record on the porch because of the sunlight going in my eyes. Uh, I'm out when the sun is over, on the other side of the building, there's shade here and there's no direct sunlight. So it's good for me to do what I can in the morning and then do what I can in the afternoon out here in the back. And I'm facing soon to start my tomato seeds. And so hopefully it'll be a solution to that because I hated squinting. I know it looks like I'm squinting now, but I'm really not. Um, I hated squinting and not even being able to see the screen on my tablet because the light bleached it out, even though I had it on the highest brightness. So we are finishing up January. I can't believe it. This month is gone. And the weather here in Florida has turned from being very cold. I'm taping this on the 26th of January. I've got a lot of appointments this week, plus I have my classes, so I don't want to get behind and then find out I don't have time to do a daily one. I made a commitment over a year, and I've kept it so far every day. And so I'm a little bit ahead. That's okay. Then I've just started a little science fiction book review part to this because that's what I like to read. That mysteries, so and thrillers and action and adventure. So I like a lot. Um, so we'll see how it works out. It seems to be okay. I won't be able to do it on rainy days, but uh, we'll see. And I have good news. I have very good news. They have approved me to get a new roof from those back-to-back hurricanes. If you saw the roof, you wouldn't know how impaired it is, but along the whole length of the roof, it lifted up during the hurricane and then came back, and it was nothing but its own weight holding it on. So if another storm comes, I could lose the whole roof. It's not leaking, thank God. And they've sent the check out to the contractor, and it's only going to be a $417 copay deductible for me, copay or deductible. And then I'll have a new roof after having paid them for 6 years and never submitted a claim. I know a lot of them were in trouble. There were so many houses that lost their roofs down here. I know the wind was 90 miles an hour at one point in the storm, and we didn't get a direct hit. So the subject for today is our common welfare comes first. And this is the quote: "The unity of Alcoholics Anonymous is the most cherished quality our society has. We stay whole or AA dies." And that is from 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 129. Our traditions are key elements in the ego deflation process necessary to achieve and maintain sobriety in Alcoholics Anonymous. The first tradition reminds me not to take credit or authority for my recovery. Placing our common welfare first reminds me not to become a healer in this program. I am still one of the patients. Self-effacing elders built this ward. Without it, I doubt I would be alive. Without the group, few alcoholics would recover. The active role in the renewed surrender of will enables me to step aside from the need to dominate, the desire for recognition, both of which played so great a part in my active alcoholism. Deferring my personal desires for the greater good of the group contributes towards AA unity that is central to all recovery. It helps me to remember that the whole is greater than the sum of all its parts, which is very, very true. Uh, I used to call the ego deflation process when I first got into AA and started studying the traditions. I was in for quite a while before I even knew about the traditions. I mean, I was 6 months on step one, and there are 11 other steps. And then in the book at the end are the traditions. And we had never covered any of the traditions. Although you do see them mentioned here and there in some of the readings that happen at every meeting. Uh, I called ego deflation process the EDP. And we can't take credit. And we don't have a fix. We share our experience, strength, and hope. We tell people how we recovered, not how they will recover. And a lot of people forget that and try to get up and be like a college professor at a meeting. And I share my experiences. You know, 28 years of drinking actively, but really, I would say 20 years of very heavy drinking. And that's what I have. That's my story. It hasn't changed, but as I've grown and matured, I've emphasized different, uh, different times of my drinking where things changed. And it's not that I'm changing my story, but as I mature, I see what becomes important. Of course, stopping drinking is very important, but spiritual advancement is what keeps me on the path. Progress, not perfection. No one's ever going to be perfect in all the other steps, but particularly daily personal inventory and making amends as soon as I can and not trying to justify what I did. When I'm wrong, and I'm to promptly admit it. And as it says here, I'm still one of the patients. That's what we forget. We do not have a professional staff. Now, I, as a nurse, worked in a psych ward when called on to do it. And, I could not, when they had meetings, it was difficult for me because they want me up there as a professional. And when I attend a meeting, I cannot attend as a professional. I'm an alcoholic, just like everyone else. And it's important to remember that, to keep that foremost in my mind that that's what I am. And I've told the story of the gentleman who ran a very fancy, upscale recovery center in Newport, Rhode Island. And he was the media darling. Oh, he had this much sobriety, and it's when the insurance companies were very, very generous with the amount that they paid for treatment. Basically, now I think it's about 3 days, as long as you're not telling people you're going to kill yourself. And they had an interview with him, and he seemed off. I watched it, and he seemed off. He was more pompous than normal. And he went and lit a cigarette and put the lit end in his mouth, and the interview ended. And it came out that he had been drinking. His sobriety had ended about a year before, and all that time he was drinking. Now, that's not a criticism of him, but you can't take on that teacher attitude. And the more you get enmeshed into with with the press and let it be known who you are and what you do, it reflects on AA. And I'm sure many people, when they saw the state that he was in that night on TV, thought, well, it doesn't work. Look at him. He's the one that founded the place and he can't stay sober. The simple fact is that he's a sick and suffering alcoholic like we all are and were. And he needs help like everyone else. But when you become so public about it, it leads to distrust. Now, the unity part, if it wasn't for unity, we and the singleness of purpose, which is alcoholism, uh, it would have broken apart by people that wanted to start recovery centers. And we have all we have is meetings in mostly churches that let us go for minimal rent. We have coffee and we listen to people speak about their experiences. And this was a great thing that Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob discovered, that if you get an alcoholic, sit and talk to him about your experiences, they have hope of recovery. Because up until that point, you just went into a hospital and more or less died, or you were in jail because you did something crazy when you were drunk, or you were in you know, a psych institution because your behavior was psychotic. But this was the first time there was really hope for each other, and that's why AA grew so fast in the beginning, because they were getting really good results. People stopped. They didn't have to take meds. They didn't have to. In those days, they give you phenobarbital to knock you out, and they didn't have to do that. Sharing our experience, strength, and hope with each other helped to arrest our alcoholism. And it's a wonderful thing that they discovered it and that they set it up the way it is so it'll be forever non-professional, except for like office staff. Uh, I mentioned I worked with a doctor who had a problem with drinking, and she came and in fact she was a psychiatrist, and she came to the meeting needing help, and she came to the meeting not knowing that I went to that meeting and I worked right beside her, and she wanted to talk about that, and we had a few words, and I told her we're all one. The unity of Alcoholics Anonymous is our most treasured possession. Anonymity is for me sacred, and no one will ever know that I saw you here. And she's since passed, uh, and I'm not telling her name or what hospital she worked in, but that made her feel really, really, really good. She had much more education than me, but it doesn't make any difference when you're an alcoholic. you know, and we wouldn't have the places that we have to go to if we were fractured. There'd be this treatment center and that treatment center, and you'd probably tie into insurance so they could get the money, like the rest of the medical establishment. They nickel and dime you for everything. Go to the emergency room because you can't get to see your PCP, and you'll quickly see a $10,000 bill. Luckily, I have good insurance. I don't have to pay it, but I fell in a parking lot, tripped over one of those cement things that kind of delineate a parking area, and I didn't see it, and my hand swelled up. I fell. I thought I broke it, and luckily, insurance covered everything. But we don't want to be like that. We want, if you don't have any money, you come to our meeting, and you're welcome. We don't charge admittance. If you can't give in the collection, you don't give. In fact, I was told when I first came in that if you need money, take money out. I don't know if that still holds water, but that's what I was told. So it's unity, all of us sticking together as alcoholics, no one better than the other, providing a place for newcomers to come and a program for newcomers to learn. And we have what is free: our experience, strength, and hope. That's it. We don't have any, what do you call it? Proprietary programs or anything. This is freely given, freely accepted, and it works. And that's the wonderful thing, it works. So, our common welfare comes first. Always, always, always. So that into the distant future, there will be meeting places for other alcoholics like me long after I've passed from the scene. And that makes me happy to know that that will happen, because having seen my three brothers die of alcoholism, I know that I could have gone that way too. I got sober before all of them. I'm the oldest, but right in front of me unfolded what could happen to me had I kept drinking, all the problems that I could have had. And I'm so glad to AA Unity there was meetings for me to go to, free meetings almost round the clock, and step meetings, big book meetings, tradition meetings, you name it. As Bob sees it, meetings. So God bless. Have a sober day. And our next program will be in February. Can you believe it? Down here, that means that winter will be ending. It'll be really nice, and I think I might enjoy being out here in the yard. It's a nice breeze today. It's about 65, and yeah, it's nice. So if you feel like it, let me know what you think of by using the yard. If the picture looks good on your computer or your tablet, everything I do is on my tablet, my Kindle 8 HD. I put a 1 terabyte drive in it, so it can hold quite a few, videos, and I download it to another 4 terabyte thing that I have, and so that should take me probably through to the rest of my life filling that up. I've only filled up 7% of this card since I've been using it, and yeah, that's it. So see, ooh, I got hiccups again. I had a chicken salad sandwich before I came out, and once I get talking, I get hiccups. So see you tomorrow. God bless.